Did you ever hear the tragedy of Darth Plagueis the Wise?
No.
I thought not. It's not a story the Jedi would tell you. It's a Sith legend. Darth Plagueis was a dark lord of the Sith, so powerful and so wise, he could use the Force to influence the midichlorians to create life. He had such a knowledge of the dark side, he could even keep the ones he cared about from dying.
He could actually save people from death?
The dark side of the Force is a pathway to many abilities, some consider to be unnatural.
What happened to him?
He became so powerful, the only thing he was afraid of was losing his power, which eventually, of course, he did. Unfortunately, he taught his apprentice everything he knew. Then his apprentice killed him in his sleep. Ironic. He could save others from death, but not himself.
Welcome to episode 16 of the Burning Ewok podcast. I am your Acolyte, Justin Granson, and with me as always...
I guess I'll be your sympathetic Dark Lord, Chuck Fisher.
All right, down below, we got who?
And Mayfers.
Nice. How's it going, guys?
He'll be that bumbling beaver creature.
What's up, Basil?
Oh my God.
We'll get to Basil in a minute.
We're going to talk about some Basil. This will be the Basil episode. First, I want to just see what's going on. Any interesting news happened this weekend with you guys? No, you guys just said boring lives. Nah. Well, it's kind of
boring lives.
But you know what? We actually connected in person, Chuck. So that was nice.
Yeah, that was.
So since last time, it was the first time I connected with you as a human being, actual. In the same space, in the same room, in the same, within 15 feet.
Yeah.
It was nice. Thank you for inviting me to your daughter's graduation party. I had a good time. It was nice to see some people, and yeah. Also, I got to see Mike Davis, who was a guest on this podcast a few episodes ago. Saw him last week. So yeah, I've kind of been seeing people. So I guess that's a good thing.
Good. Yeah. Get out, see people, man.
Yeah. So real quick, they canceled our Halo show that we talked about a little bit.
Not shocking.
I was really surprised.
I'm a little bummed about it. You know what? They're shopping it around, seeing if somebody else can pick it up.
Oh, maybe they will.
Well, like I said,
I did not watch season 2.
See, neither of you watched season 2, right?
Not yet. I'm gonna watch it.
Season 1 and 2 should have been combined into one season that should have led up to exactly where they're at, because now all the fun stuff happens.
They find the Halo.
Yeah, they land on the Halo. At the end of the episode, they're on the Halo. It's like
they find Halo.
Yeah,
and they cancel the show.
yeah. It's like Halo. We won. You got to the Halo. It's over. Yeah, the show finally started getting interesting, and it had some moments, but I hope it gets picked up by somebody who lets them do something with it, but I don't know. I think that's an expensive one, and I think if somebody buys the rights to it, they're just going to want to start it fresh.
Well, they'll want an actor that keeps his helmet on. Probably.
I don't care about that. I don't care
about it either. People get all butthurt about it.
Yeah. Okay. So, let's just get into the Acolyte then.
Oh, let's do it.
Episode 8.
I got one more thing.
Well, I was asking. I was saying, what's up? Like, come on.
I went to a concert.
Is it your dinner? Are you reviewing your dinner?
Yeah. What are you eating?
My dinner is awesome. It's DiGiorno stuffed crust pepperoni. It's actually fantastic. But I went to a concert at Wrigley, and it was fun. And we almost got, I think there were 8 tornadoes that night.
Holy crap! You guys! Oh, wow! Yeah, that night was crazy.
I feel really bad though for the people that like timed everything out to get there at a certain time, and then they started an hour early. Like they got off of work and they're going to the concert, and we're like,
So there's a lot of old people there already because it's a bunch of older bands, right? So Steve Miller Band,
there you go.
Journey, and Def Leppard, right? And I got to tell you, man, Steve Miller was great, and they only played 30 minutes because so for our viewers out there, we're in the Chicagoland area, and there's a huge storm that came Monday night. And so they saw it coming. They said it's going to hit right around when Def Leppard was going on. So they moved everything forward an hour early, but didn't tell anybody until 30 minutes before they were going to put everyone on. So, so people had timed it, on Monday night through rush hour traffic to get there right when Steve Miller Band started. And I know like 3 or 4 people who tried to get there for Steve Miller Band and missed the whole thing.
That's kind of a
missed
bummer.
Steve Miller Band and half a Journey because of it.
I would have been there for Steve Miller Band. And I think like 30 minutes of Steve Miller Band, though, is probably about the right amount of time. Because I could probably name like all my favorite Steve Miller bands in a 30-minute set. And I'm sure they played the hits. They
played Steve Miller Band's greatest hits. I think they left out like maybe 2 good songs.
Yeah, but you get Time Keeps on Time and Joker and
a lot of good ones. But he raced through them, and honestly, they probably played the cleanest set in terms of it was perfect. And I wanted to see, with how good they were, I wanted to see them have a little opportunity to roam a little bit, right? Supposed to be like a 45-minute set for them, and they had to cut out 15 minutes.
That's a bummer.
So.
Yeah, that does.
Yeah. Journey killed it. I forget what the guy's name is. That's replaced Steve Perry, the Filipino guy, is freaking amazing. A little ball of energy, and he was fantastic, and he really killed that show.
How much of the original band of Journey, other than obviously Stephen Perry, who's been working to get his way back in, how much of the rest of the original band's in it?
I think it's the keyboard player and the guitarist.
Okay.
That's it.
Okay.
I don't know. Honestly, I'm not that big of a Journey nut.
I'm not either, but I do appreciate some Journey.
Yeah. They were really good. Journey was fantastic, and it would have been, I think, a little more fun if it had been later in the evening. But it is what it is. They didn't have to cancel the show, so. But they were good. And then Def Leppard absolutely killed it. My only complaint about Def Leppard is they tried to play. They wanted to play some newer material, and it's their show. They can play what they want. But they played like 3 or 4 songs that nobody knew and cut like 3 songs that everybody wanted to hear. So that was kind of a bummer. But they put on a good show. That's like the 4th time I've seen them, I think, and it was
They play Foolin'?
They did.
Okay, then I would have got my money's worth. It's all good.
Yeah.
So you saw a good show.
Awesome. Yeah. They were great. Anyways, they did a really good job of getting everyone in and out, and it was the fastest teardown of a set I've ever seen between Journey and Def Leppard with the storm coming in. We did not get wet, which was amazing, but it was fun. Good times.
Awesome.
2 nights in a row, we were in our basement, hanging out in our basement.
Mm-hmm.
Everything went south of us, like to where you're at, Like I'm telling you, where I live, there's a split in the weather patterns. The bad weather goes north and south of us. And we'll get hit with the edges of it. Dan, you're in the same path we are. I don't ever feel that we get the major extremes. I don't know if it has something to do with Lake Michigan. I don't know. Like it just kind of always feels like Chuck, you get just whomped on. And Ryan up north, our friend who lives in McHenry, they get whooped all the time too. Yeah.
Yep. To be honest, my house looked like nothing had happened, but just down the road, like an entire tree got ripped right out of the ground. It was crazy.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah,
it'd be like that. Yep. All right, Acolyte.
Episode 8, The Acolyte. So let's go. I would like to. I started last time, so I think you guys need to start this time.
So let's break down the episode. What happened? Spoiler alert.
No, it's always spoilers. We are full on spoilers. Alert. My pictures are spoiler alerts that I put up there. I don't even. I show no mercy. Watch. When I say it's a episode discussion, watch the episode if you don't want to get spoiled before you listen to this podcast.
No, but Chuck, recap the episode for us.
The episode starts with, gosh, how do you break it down? Basically,
It's really easy. I'll start. Damn it, Chuck.
May escapes.
No, it's not where it starts.
No, it does start there, doesn't it?
It starts with the helmet.
Oh, that's right.
Starts with an incredibly great scene in the beginning.
Explain, because I thought it was supposed to prevent her from oh, never mind, maybe not. I don't know. He was she was in his head for a second, wasn't she?
Well, okay, so at the end of the episode, my prediction was when we saw episode 6, it ends with her putting the helmet on, and I'm like, yeah, this has awakened all her abilities. This whole thing, it is a sensory deprivation helmet, basically. Blocks everything out. And there were some things later on, when he was sensed and he put the helmet on really quick. I mean, that was definitely, it's almost like Magneto's helmet in a way to keep Professor X out of his head also with that. But having that helmet on there, it allowed her to just channel focus everything. And my opinion of what I saw was her witch powers came out, and it was all that rage and she got into his head instantly. You saw the eyes go black, just it happened to the Padawan, but the Padawan couldn't handle it. He was able to kind of break free of it and get the helmet off of her, but it freaked him the hell out because that's when he realizes how strong she is. So I really like that because that's just her kind of unleashing that dark side, And I'm going to tell you, right up. I'm going to save my opinions on that actually, because we'll build up to it. So we have that scene. That's where it starts. So then they get out of there. So May escapes, right? We're going to talk about the May escape scene. Okay, it's the clunkiest part of the entire episode for sure.
Oh, it's horrible! So, it's so dumb.
It's well, I don't mind so Saul, he's still bumbling over all his words. He's trying to explain everything what's going on with the past while May's breaking out. Notice how she's started kind of making a connection with Pip. So if you kind of notice that
the droid, the stupid droid,
the
which
stupid
is not
droid.
explored at all, right?
What's that?
It's not. It's not really explored. It's just assumed. It's just an assumption that she's making that connection with.
Well, later on, actually, when she gets in the ship, she goes, "Are you okay?" Or she acknowledges to make sure that the droid's okay.
No, it's.
Yeah, I don't understand the point. But
I'll bring it all together at the end. Okay. Because you guys have said that this show has been terribly written the whole time and it's absolutely awful and it's the worst thing and that it ruins Star Wars. It basically tears your head off and poops down your neck hole. That's basically what you've been saying, Chuck.
So that's what Chuck was saying. I said something a little different.
Okay. Well, I just want to make it clear and everything. And I want to say while there are moments of bumbling throughout these episodes, the overarching story and the structure of it is absolutely fantastic, and it's probably the best single season outside of Andor as a completed season goes when it comes to Star Wars single seasons. Yeah, absolutely.
I would agree with you for the live action stuff, except for maybe Ahsoka, I think is better.
Well, Ahsoka ends with so many things left open. Where this doesn't leave this you could walk away from this show and go, cool, I could see how this gets to Palpatine. If they never have a second season, you could make the logical leaps of what happens beyond.
So, okay.
You can't in Ahsoka. Ahsoka, it's dude, Ahsoka's in another galaxy. Ezra came back, so did Thrawn, and then you've got Balin looking for the mother son and all that with the Force.
Ahsoka's the show that ties it all together and makes that whole universe of The Mandalorian better because it is a good show. And I think that's okay with Ahsoka in terms of leaving all those things open because it's driving to the next season of Mandalorian.
I like Ahsoka better also. I like Ahsoka and I like that because I love those characters. I'm just saying as a single collection of episodes that ties up beginning to end, this is satisfactory. And it does what it set out to do. It solves. It says, "Hey, there's a mystery of something that happens on the planet Brendok." It gives us all the answers of what happened there. We all know. We understand everything that happens there. And then the entire other story of this is how do you turn somebody who was once a Jedi to the dark side? And that's what it is. And it does both of those things. And it does especially the turning somebody to the dark side exceptionally well.
Okay, but you didn't need 90% of episode 1, 2, 3, and 4 to get there. That's the problem with the season. And I don't think you're wrong. I think the story is okay. Like the finish is great, right? Episode 5 and 6 and episode 8 are great when you put them all together. Episode
I can
1,
see Chuck
2,
shaking his
3,
head.
and 4 and 7 are just, I don't know if it's poorly edited, it's poorly put together, it's the pacing of it and the nonsense that's in there, tracking down the other Jedi. You don't need any of that. You don't even need the 4 Jedi. You only need Soul. The other 3 Jedi serve no purpose at all within the context of the story.
Well, they do in the context of Brendok.
None. No, you don't need them, and I can tell you why. Because you don't need them at the end. You don't need anything at the end. There's no character development at all of Soul, of Osha, or May with any of those characters. There's none.
Okay, well, the characters that are killed off, but those were the characters that were on Brendok, and in each episode you had one of them getting killed off in the beginning. So that was the original story. Well, then you're also
it's an attempt to be cute, an attempt to be clever, and it doesn't do well at that. It does well on the story of Chimere and the, from when you get to the point where, or the Stranger, let's just call him the Stranger. I like that better.
I like the Stranger.
Yeah, the Stranger. It makes me, every time I see the Stranger on the subtitles, and because I was watching it with subtitles on last night, or 2 nights ago. Yeah, it was last night, right? When did it was Tuesday night, right? Every time I saw the Stranger, I'm like, is it Mysterious Stranger? Is somebody gonna come out with a hat and a pistol? But anyways, it does a really good job with the Stranger and his story, and really that's what ties May and Osha's story back together well is the Stranger. Everything else is just not done well. It's the only piece that's done well is the Stranger in his story.
I don't even think that's done
well. Them in.
Even that's not done well.
Why?
I mean, here's the thing. You introduce a character and you never give him a name. Like, we still don't even know what to call this guy. He has no name? Come on, that's so stupid. Give the guy a name. What's the story? You can't, figure out You can't even figure out your character's name?
I think that's okay. They don't
even say the word Ewok in the original Return of the Jedi.
So
this
guy has a name.
You don't need, they don't ever mention the word Sith until episode 1. It's just like there's things that go unnamed throughout. They don't mention a lot of characters' names.
You can make a lot of excuses, but the first thing you do in a book is you give your characters names.
It's called the Stranger.
He's the Stranger.
Yeah, the Man in Black is in the Dark Tower series. That's one of the main characters is the Man in the Black. He doesn't have a name until later on down the road, like 6 books in, they give him a name. Maybe it's more than that.
It'd be nice to know, if he's part of the chain of Sith that lead to.
Well, okay, we're gonna get there. I think we're gonna get there. We're gonna get there because again, I don't know, I don't know, Chuck. I'm just gonna go out there. Do not be insulted by this, but I have no idea how you consume media, because this is you're going on the tangent of oh my God, Ki-Adi-Mundi, how could he be in there when how he'll know about the Sith? That's terrible writing, and all the people that freaked out about that without seeing the entire thing play through. And now that we've seen it play through, it makes perfect sense that people wouldn't know that they're Sith. It's been covered up, or they've been all killed, and nothing has been even identified as officially a Sith yet.
Yeah,
nothing has. In fact, I don't think the Stranger is a Sith.
So can I just take a moment of satisfaction here? And I called one gratuitous plot thing and then one main plot point, which I called that Vanessa was going to try and cover this shit up as soon as she was that whole episode where they're talking with. I still cannot. Anima Kanumi, whatever that was.
Ki-Adi-Mundi. I'm not going to give you that much credit on that one. I'm going to give you more credit on the other one. We all called that she was that. Go back and listen.
And you guys, when we recapped that episode, when we had our discussion on that episode, you guys said no, she wasn't.
That she wasn't what?
that she wasn't trying to keep it on the sly after
No.
that episode.
I didn't say that. You go back and listen.
Yeah,
Go
you
back
guys
and listen.
did.
No, in fact, I said
Yeah.
she might even be the Sith.
Yeah, I think
No,
it's clear
I never.
now.
No, that's why. Like you covered. Like I was predicting even more stuff for her. The other prediction you totally got. I'll give you that one.
I knew they would do it because they can't help themselves. Like Disney, Star Wars cannot help himself with something like that. And I don't think it was bad. I thought it was perfect. It was great. It needed to be there. And you said he absolutely was not going to be there.
I
and
didn't want
knew
it. I didn't want it. I didn't want it. I didn't need it. I'm fine with it. I don't care, but I kind of wanted something more separated from it all. But we're talking about the Yoda reveal at the end, if you hadn't figured it out.
What was she going to say to him? What was she? She was just going to tell him that Saul killed all those people, and that that's it.
No, she's going to tell him my Padawan's still alive, and the two of them know something about Darth Plagueis.
I don't think so. I don't think so.
Yeah, I don't think so.
Well,
100%.
This is why. Okay, we don't know. This is all speculation here because we don't have enough evidence. But we could talk about some scenarios. So before Osha and the stranger leave to go catch up with everybody for the big finale, we see a certain moon species creature in a cave, right? And obviously that's Darth Plagueis the Wise. He, if you don't know, in Star Wars lore, is mentioned in Episode 3 by Darth Sidious, or Emperor Palpatine, or whatever we were going to call him, as his master, or it's alluded to that, we know that he's his master and that Palpatine killed him in his sleep, etc., etc. So this, and the showrunners have gone as far to say yeah, we've got it mapped out to where it gets up to Palpatine. Like, we know how that tracks. It's all been confirmed. Like, the Star Wars people are letting us do it. But that doesn't necessarily mean that Kamir and Osha have a clue that guy even exists. Or they completely know he exists. Because one, it's either his master, and that's where the connection is, or they're on the planet that is in Legends that it seems like they're going to make it canon now from the Plagueis book, where Plagueis actually lives with his master, Darth Tenebris, who's a Blythe. That's the dudes that play the music in the cantina. Those two could be Sith, and those two could still exist on that planet because there's also a Vergence on that planet in the story. So they could not even be detected, and they might just be hiding out there, seeing that this other dude came to this planet to get the cortosis or whatever. And my thought is the stranger and Osha aren't necessarily the Sith, but they're the beginning of the Knights of Ren. And they're going to have issues with like those forces, Sith and Ren, may be like at odds in an upcoming season. And I think that may be where it goes. Total speculation. It all could be that Darth Plagueis is already his master, and he's pissed that this guy's now got another Padawan, or an Acolyte, and kills him off. Who knows? I just don't think we have enough information. That's all. I mean, there's a lot to speculate from that.
I mean, I think as we've seen in like Ahsoka and in some of the other newer series, they're cherry picking source material from all over the place, right?
Yeah.
Which is fine. They got a dearth to draw from. So draw from it. I just want the execution on it to be tighter. I think this. It ended really well. I thought the last episode was good. I was engaged. It was fun. Nothing shocking at all. There was no shockers to me at all. Like everything I was like, yeah, I figured that something like that would happen. The 100% across the board, almost to a T. Except for the stupid tracker being brought back. It's so dumb.
Yeah.
That part.
Let's get that part out of the way, because that's the stupidest part in the episode.
Oh my god.
So I think what we're all referring to. So we're going to refer to the part where May escapes, gets in the escape pod or the escape shuttle, takes off. Saul's chasing her, and he starts getting her in the sights to shoot her down. Basil doesn't seem to like that and goes in, pulls some wires to stop the targeting computer and screw up the ship.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, yeah, not is clunky. I'm not gonna. I got nothing for that one. Not my favorite part at all. Just didn't track with, like, okay, maybe Basil doesn't want May to be killed because he's a good guy and he's thinking she's going to shoot down. He'd rather have her captured and tried as whatever. I don't know. I could make excuses for it, but it was sloppy and clunky. You know.
Yep.
I think that was the only sloppy and clunky part about the episode, though. That was the only part that like kind of irked me.
I mean, I think though, I don't know. Like Star Wars has a Jedi problem, right? And I think it doesn't only. I think the original trilogy does the Jedi the way everybody thinks of the Jedi the best in terms of it's true to its intentions, right? And I think that after the original trilogy, and we got like books, there were some cartoons, we got, people's imagination kind of ran wild with what the Jedi were, right? And then we got the prequels come along, and it was goofy, it was hokey, cheesy, for whatever reasons, why they did it that way, they did it that way. And the Jedi kind of became like this force of all-powerful, all-knowing beings, except for, all of a sudden Anakin can turn, in the split second. I watched a great video of somebody went back and edited all of the parts where he's talking with Palpatine, and Palpatine's, applying his seduction to the dark side to him. And instead, Anakin's like, "No, I'm not going to do that."
I saw it. It's great. It's great. Like, it was called "If Anakin Was Smart."
Yeah. If Anakin were smart,
he's like, "No, you're a bad guy. You're trying to turn me. I get this." Yeah.
It's like, and that's like, if you can suspend your disbelief that he would actually be totally seduced with that, and I know there are other things that seduce him, like drive him towards that, but if he's so easily turned there, right? It's just kind of dumb. And then forget the new trilogy, because I think it's totally different than the first two. But then you take this show and how bumbling they make the Jedi, and then Soul's character is just so bad. That's the only, he's good, like, outside, as soon as May escapes and they get to the planet, from that point on, he does a good job. Like, the character's done well. He's the badass, like a Jedi master should be.
But he's still broken.
And I know he's broken, but how a Jedi master can be so easily broken in the way they do it and the way they present it in the series is the part that misses, right? They don't do the seduction well. They don't show why he would do it well. Yes, it's bad, Justin. It's really bad.
I disagree.
The whole first 4 episodes are trash.
I also disagree. I also disagree.
Terribly.
Yeah, I believe they gave him the name Soul because his character has no soul. He's boring. He's
disagree.
I think he doesn't embody the Jedi at all. Like
what does embody the Jedi, or like the Jedi have a problem? I mean, what are you guys talking about here? It's a character. Okay, so it's a singular character that you're talking about. It doesn't represent all Jedi.
Right. But
Venestra is obviously corrupted in some way, shape, or form, right? All 4 of the original Jedi on Brendok do the wrong thing all the time. Like, they do it all the time. In what the show's trying to do, right, is show, hey, this organization, this religion, whatever, has become so powerful, and it's the do-gooders, and in doing good they trample other people, blah 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 blah. And I think everybody gets the point they're trying to make, right? but the way they keep trying to tell it to you is just not, it's not done well. It is not done well, because the way they're doing it is basically making, they're so incompetent across the board, but then they're not, and then they are, and then they're not, and it's like a switch goes on and off, rather than, your traditional, hero that has faults. In the hero should always be trying to overcome those faults despite the faults themselves.
That's exactly what Saul's doing. That's exactly what Saul does.
We know it is.
And he gets killed before he can do it. That's the beauty of it.
No.
Yes.
No, it's not. That's not the problem. The problem is the faults are not real. It's like trying to show him having those faults and what those faults were. It is not like, hey, we went on this mission to go, save these people from slavers or something like that. And along the way, when we took a pot shot at them, we killed the wrong guy or whatever. It is mistake 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Like, there's no way within the mythos of the Jedi they could be so terrible at being Jedi.
I don't like
work.
Like if you have like a rose-colored glasses view of Jedi only, I guess. But let's go through the Saul experience then. So Saul is somebody who his entire goal here is to protect this Vergence in the Force. Like the entire last episode, he's trying to explain to May and Osha that they're not twins, that they're one person. They are one thing, right? Okay? And he never really gets it out there, but his entire intent is, how can I explain how important this is to the rest of the Jedi, even though I've screwed up this, okay? And so he screws up by killing the witch, right? That's the screw up. That's his main screw up, and he knows it immediately.
That's the penultimate screw up. It is not the main screw up. The main screw up, right, is he's a Jedi Master, right? He's a Jedi Master at the beginning of Brendok, right?
No, he's not. He's just a knight. Okay. He's just a knight because Trinity is the Master.
He goes, we're here because there could be a Vergence because something special happened here, right?
Sure.
They find out they're not alone.
Sure.
The first thing they would do, and they should do, is you go back in and you report what you find.
That's the first thing he does is he reports that he's seen something. When he finds the girls, he calls it in.
They've been dispatched No, it's before that. That's after they go out looking for more, right?
No, when he first finds May and Osha underneath the tree, which I think is the Vergence, by the way. So he calls it in to them. It's the first thing he does.
But he's a Jedi Knight, right? He's been the Padawan, right? We've had this whole ideal of Jedi and how they're supposed to work and how they're supposed to keep that inner peace and calm and reflect. And there's none of it. None of it happens. Like, they don't go through the Jedi playbook on Brendok at all. It's like, it's just gone. It's out the window. It never existed. They're just, guys running around on a planet doing their own thing. And there's one of them that tries to do it, which is the Jedi Master. But the rest of them should have been doing it also, and none of them do.
So I guess then, if you're going to build up the Sith over 100 years, coming back to where we get to episode 1, where they finally get revealed, how would you have them infiltrate the Jedi? I mean, some point down the road, the Jedi are going to have to bumble this up and screw it up to allow these things to happen. In fact, we've got the guy at the end who's the senator or whatever who Venestra absolutely hates and loathes because he's trying to get more control over these Jedi, which they have more control of in the prequel era.
You don't have to turn the Jedi into Inspector Clouseau to have the Sith infiltrate. I mean, we have 20-something James Bond movies of how evil organizations keep coming back and infiltrating MI6, right? I mean, there's a way to do these things, and there's interesting ways. You don't have to do it the same, but it is not that difficult to show the failures of a group of people or a person that intends to be good and does the opposite of what they.
So you're saying every single Shaolin monk, every single priest, everything like that, they've all been great forever.
I didn't say that at all.
But that's what you are saying, that like this bothers you that they decided to take these 4 Jedi and tell the story of Jedi that screw up, and that is representative of all of Jedi then. Like there's not other stories going on where Jedi are doing things by the book and doing things the right way. Like they're telling the story of.
I'm pretty sure I said you don't have to do it by making them be idiots.
But it's one story. It's one story.
But what here's the thing, Justin. What he's saying is, and I think the majority of people are upset about is that they don't act like Jedi. Like there's look at Qui-Gon Jinn and Obi-Wan, how they carry themselves, how they speak to people. There's just more of a I don't know, a sophistication, a level of like control, self-control there, and they don't show any of that.
I think Jackie shows that. I think Yord shows that. I think all the earlier Jedis in the show do show that. The ones that you said were unnecessary, they're absolutely showing that. Saul is showing that in those first few before he's showing that he's covering things up. And we find out why he's covering things up is the chain reaction of events. It's like when you have a movie like A Simple Plan, or what's the one where the plane crashes, they got the money and they take the money and they're trying to cover up that they've stolen this money, but when you make the one mistake, all your cover-ups make everything worse, and it compounds and it compounds. This is a simple tale like that. What?
That's like Three Dumb Brothers, though, right? In that.
No. That's not the one I'm talking about. That's what's the one? Bill Paxton's in it.
Yeah, it's Three Dumb Brothers.
The point is it's a type of movie.
Rednecks. And that's a great analogy. They turned the Jedi into 3, like those 3, not Carrie-Anne Moss. Yeah. Yep. They turned those 3 into 3 dumb hillbillies. And I can tell you exactly how they should have done it. Right, what you wanted. Right, was add about 45 more minutes to those first 3-4 episodes. Okay, and explain how the vergence of the Force and the witches and the outside influence of the Sith impacted those 3 Jedi to be that way. And they don't do that at all. Not at all. There's maybe you could construe it or make an assumption, but there's no narrative, there's no scenes in these shows that build that backstory where it's them having an impact from, like the yin and the yang fighting against each other and pulling them towards being, and it really shouldn't be dumb. They shouldn't be imbeciles because they come off imbecilic. They don't come off as making mistakes. They come off as tripping over their shoelaces. Right?
I mean, you could have written this where they were doing because clearly Saul's character, his drive was to protect the girls. You could have easily made that, where he's being logical and smart about it, but yet he does something like accidentally kill somebody in a place, or he steps somewhere like he shouldn't. Like, I don't know. Like there's ways you could have done it where he didn't have to be an idiot.
I don't think he was an idiot. I don't think he was an idiot. That's the thing. Like if somebody turns into a smoke monster in front of me and I stab them with my lightsaber, wait, no.
Think he's an idiot.
I don't think he was an idiot at all. Like that's the part that I'm having an issue with. Saul's not an idiot. Saul makes mistakes, but he's not an idiot.
Mm-mm. He doesn't just make mistakes. He makes one after the other after the other.
Okay, so what's his? So so he's a knight when he does most of this stuff, and it's also with Torben freaking out, losing his mind after being possessed by witches. We've covered all that. But somebody turns into a smoke monster witch right in front of me, and I put my lightsaber through them, it would be kind of a natural reaction, I would imagine, especially when tensions were getting so high, right? He realizes hang on. You talked. Hang on. Okay. So he makes that mistake, right? He knows immediately it's a mistake. And then you have the situation, we have the girls. One girl witnesses it, the other one doesn't. He has the one that doesn't witness it. They make the decision, we tell the truth, we lose her. Right? So that is a decision that is made. Is that them bumbling? When they're in the ship later on, and they have Osha unconscious and they leave after they've done everything there.
Hey, go back. You said all right, so one sister sees what he does.
One sister sees the murder. May sees the murder. Osha does not see it.
So they've got
Osha.
So you think at that moment when Osha sees or May sees him kill the mother, which I don't think she sees that scene.
She sees it. She's right there.
She's there.
She's right there.
So you think at that moment Sol makes the decision that he's going to let her die because he was going, at that moment he decides he's going to cover everything up.
No, he doesn't make that decision. Trinity makes the decision later on. They go on the ship after that. They've got Osha. They get into a fight. They get into a fight over it.
I don't think that. Honestly,
I think you need to rewatch the show, man. I'm telling you, because you're like missing so many things.
You're missing this, right? Those are like the parts that are actually reasonable within the context of what you are explaining, right? I think those are reasonable failures and mistakes. It's the I found two girls and we're not alone, blah blah blah, I'm going to run after them rather than I can't talk to my superior and go back.
So wait, you got the Jedi handbook that says what the protocol should have been in that situation? That's been established in other lore? That, like, if a Jedi finds something, that they need to report it and do this. Where's the lore on that? Like, tell me. Like, where's he breaking that?
He gets excited. He skulks in the shadows. He's excited. His voice is irritable. He chases after them, breaks into their castle without talking to anybody. I mean, come on.
He thinks the girls are in trouble.
Luke Skywalker has like 2 training sessions with Master Yoda, becomes a Jedi Knight like his father before him.
No, he doesn't.
Calmly flies, goes and turns himself in, hands his lightsaber over to challenge the Emperor in Darth Vader. Then doesn't break a sweat, doesn't lose his calm, doesn't lose his center. And you're telling me a Jedi Knight who has been training forever, and
you're telling me that any rando Jedi is the same as Luke Skywalker.
I'm telling you, yes, that everything we've seen about the Jedi is that they are that Shaolin monk-like kind of a deal, that Buddhist mentality, that samurai mentality, where they don't lose their cool when they see 2 girls running through the forest.
I got news for you. There are a lot of samurai over the times and over the years that have screwed up royally.
Whatever. I mean, you understand what I'm saying. And
I don't.
Well, I think you're probably the only one who out there.
I disagree. I wholeheartly disagree. I think there's a lot of people that found a lot to like out of this show. Yeah, and I'm telling you.
No, I think you're the one. I think you're probably going to be like one of in the vast minority of fans of, like, hardcore fans of Star Wars who think that this doesn't show the Jedi as imbecilic.
You're missing my point. I don't care if it shows them if they make mistakes. I don't care if some of them are dumb. They're humans. I want some of them to be flawed. I don't want them perfect. In order for them to make mistakes, if they don't make mistakes, what's the point then? I mean, then there's no. If Anakin doesn't fall through his mistakes and his rage in doing these things, what's the story? Anakin is the most powerful. He still falls, right? In the stupidest way possible in a lot of ways. Osha's turn way better than Anakin's turn. Absolutely executed better.
If you recall, I said the best episodes are 5, 6, and 7.
Okay.
Which are 5, 6, and 8, which are the ones that establish
I will agree. Those are also the best episodes.
Those are the best episodes, right? Mm-hmm. And I don't have a problem with those in particular, other than one or two small scenes.
Yeah, the stupid.
But you can make mistakes, and you can make great mistakes, monstrous mistakes, without looking like an idiot. And they make them look like idiot up until that. That's right. Really, it's like two totally separate shows.
Okay. So Saul is a tragic character. Okay. So we're going to separate Saul. Let's talk about the other three Jedi. One of them, Trinity, she gets killed too soon. We have no idea what her deal is, really, right? Then you got the Wookiee gets killed. We don't know her deal. Doesn't matter. But that dude's so messed up because he got possessed by witches that he's living off on his own, right? And just drawing circles of witches and stuff. We don't really know much about it. Not bumbling. He got turned by the witches and he just went off.
Not him. Trinity. Okay. The way she dies. Okay. Bumbling.
Watch episode 2 and see the dumb ways that Jedi get killed by dumb robots. Okay, it's nothing new. Okay, and then you've got or by clone troopers in episode 3. Seriously, Jedi die in dumb ways. It happens all the time. Also in the Clone Wars cartoon, it happens all the time. Jedi die in dumb ways.
Yeah, no,
including bumbling. It's not a new thing. And I don't think saving somebody is necessarily bumbling. It was a mistake. She probably wasn't expecting it, whatever. So she died. That's the way they wrote it. Doesn't matter. Anyway. So then you got Torben all messed up going. He's not bumbling anymore. And he was a Padawan when it happened. So we can give like some breaks to Padawans, I imagine. But he goes away and he just goes into a trance for the rest of his life until he drinks some poison because he's screwed up. His brain is mush.
Isn't he a master at that point, by the way?
Doesn't matter.
They call him Master Torben, right?
Yeah, but it doesn't matter. It's like he's messed up. He's always been screwed up. That's why he had to go far away. Right? So Saul is the tragic character where he is always trying to justify his actions. The entire last episode, all he's trying to do is justify his actions to May and to Osha. Right? Osha finds out the truth, and that sets her over the edge, right? Completely sets her over the edge. I'm going to talk, another great lightsaber battle between Saul. I'll tell you one thing, Saul, hell of a lightsaber guy. Hell of a lightsaber fighter. You don't think so, Chuck?
I thought it was great.
I thought it was incredible. The part where they're cutting through the bridge and everything. Oh, fantastic.
I like the fact that they completely forgot how powerful Quinn, the Stranger, was, because the Stranger previously in the previous battle was so freaking overpowered, and then here he
whoa! Saul took him down in there. Saul took him down in that episode. Saul was the better sword fighter between the two in that episode also.
Mm-hmm. He didn't use force push at all. He didn't use, he could have just thrown Saul off the top of the mountain. Like,
what are you talking about?
It was ridiculous. That duel was pathetic.
Okay. Go back and watch things. If you remember in episode 5, Saul took him on. So this made perfect sense that he was able to take him on again.
Yeah, I'm good with it.
I don't know. You're just looking for stuff to hate on, Chuck. No. I may be making excuses, but honestly, what was bad about it? Like, it was just like a continuation off of what we saw the two of them fighting in episode 5.
Mm-hmm. I'm good with it.
I thought it was fantastic.
I liked how Saul, I liked how he countered him. He did a good job with that.
I like the part where he turned off his lightsaber so it didn't hit the helmet. Stuff like that, little bits in there I thought were just like really badass. I thought,
great. He's so good and smart and master of the Force, but all of his other dumb failings, right? That's where I get hung up on.
But I think I don't necessarily see it as him trying to justify what he did to make things right. If he can prove that there's this divergence, then people will see that why he made the decisions he made. And at the end, when Osha loses it, goes to him, finds out the truth, starts choking him, killing a Jedi without a weapon. The part where he says, and he's like, he just gives in and says, "It's okay, you can kill me," is fantastic. Is an absolute, just like him giving in and just like, I'm done. Okay. He realizes his failure and realizes her rage is there, and he just gives into it. Fantastic. I think his character arc from the beginning to the end, it really, in the episodes that we have mentioned, the best episodes is where he really comes alive and is fantastic. On the other hand, I think the Osha and May arc over all 8 episodes is absolutely perfected by this. I wasn't sold on it until this episode, and this episode brought it all together. I love what they did with those characters.
I don't think it brought it all together. I mean,
well, we know they're
brought
one.
The story together. That's it. It did not bring I did not bring all of the nonsense of episode 1, 2, 3, and 4 together. All did it brought the main plot points together to a good T. That's it.
It told us from the beginning. You have 2 girls that are living together. One wants to make her own choices, wants to be independent, doesn't want to be part of a community. The other one just wants to be part of the community. I mean, they were pretty careful. Those witches aren't necessarily evil. You know, they're just different types of Force users. This girl wants to be part of that group. The other one doesn't want anything to do with it. So they're polar opposites. They're part of the same thing. They're yin and yang, right? They stay consistent throughout the entire thing. She wants to go away, become a Jedi. She goes away, becomes a Jedi, doesn't like being part of a community, has to leave. Does it so much, though, that she goes and becomes a character or a person that does illegal work on the sides of ship that's exceptionally dangerous. So she can kind of stay away from everything because she just wants to be away from everything. When given the choice later on to be a Sith, she doesn't have to be part of anything. She's herself. She gets to make her own decisions, do that. That bit of character staying throughout and having her in those different scenarios is great. While May, now she always wants to be part of a group. She's always wanting to be a character within different things. She goes as far as not wanting to kill the stranger at the end. She wants to turn him in. She didn't want to kill Saul at the end. She wants to turn him in. Not really the stranger. I shouldn't have said that. That's not what I meant. She doesn't want to kill Saul. She wants to turn him in. She's already dealt with, she has resolved all her pain and her anguish and everything, where it's like the two kind of flip and the one becomes more light. It's like they're either completely balanced together or they're complete polar opposites. And I love that duality between those characters.
I think that if you outlined the series and then you gave blank pages to fill in the different parts of the outline, right? I think that either some poor writing or some poor editing and poor directing or some combination of those three, that it's very ineffectively done in the first 4 episodes, and episode 7 is just kind of like
well, 3 and 7 go together.
So yes, so
3 and 7 go together. 1 and 2 to go together.
Yeah, you take those 5 episodes, and it's like it's like a student who has filled out, written their term paper and nailed the ending, but did a piss poor job in the beginning. That's the way I feel about this series, and I think it's a really strong last 3 episodes. I'm going to take episode 7 out. I'm going to put it right next to episode 3, which is where it should have been from the beginning, because it doesn't, like, there were no surprises. There was no mystery that needed to be done. It didn't help at all in the way that they told the story. And just say you probably could have just either you needed to re-edit it or add more, or just shrink it down to like a couple episodes, make it a 4 episode.
If it was 4 episodes, story, it would have been perfect. It would have been much better. I agree.
That's really what I'm trying to convey. Yeah. It's just it's not done well enough that those are strong enough. That I'm not unhappy with it as a whole. I just think it, with how short the episodes are, that they took the roundabout way to getting to the point, and needlessly, it's like they didn't have to do it that way, and it didn't help itself doing it the way that they did it to get there. I think episodes 5, 6, and 8 are definitely 3 of the strongest live action episodes.
Well, you could put 4 and 5 together. I mean, 4 and 5 is like 4 is a setup to 5. It's a slow setup to what happens in 5. You can make that one episode. You can make 7 and 8 an episode also.
Just take the 10 minutes at the the 10 minutes at the end of we didn't need the Wookiee story. There wasn't much substance to it anyway.
Give me the world building. Give me more stuff. Give me, it's like when you said like you don't need those early episodes. I mean, we're seeing a whole other era of Star Wars where we're establishing all these different things. We're seeing how the Jedi Council is. We're seeing these little bits. I like all that. So it's while you may see it as like unnecessary, that's the stuff I live in. That's the stuff I want to see. I want to give me 15 minutes of just Jedi walking down a hallway. I'm good with it because I'll point out the statues and all this other nerd stuff. That's the stuff I nerd out to.
They gave us that 15 minutes, and the Jedi are walking down the hallway, tripping over their laces, falling on their sabers. Is really what they're doing. That's the way I see it.
All right, Chuck, I want you to talk about blue sabers turning red.
Freaking awesome.
Now, I want to hear Chuck's opinion on this because I think he hates it.
Well, I would like to can I just start by saying that I think Soul killed that witch, and I think he did it. I think he was right for doing it because she suddenly started turning into the smoke monster, but she was taking May with her. And if his motivation was to protect the girls, and she starts evaporating, he's like freaking like what's happening? He wants to stop that. The fact that he didn't tell Osha or wasn't open with Osha blows my mind because look, it's not necessarily. It's hard to explain, but it is justified. Like he was trying to protect her sister. Why would she be pissed about that?
Yep.
I agree with you wholeheartedly.
I think you nailed that.
Yeah, and Jedi in the past have just want to point this out. Jedi have been a little lenient with telling the truth about family members' pasts in other parts of Star Wars from certain points of view. If you understand what I'm saying.
True, but I don't know. It just doesn't seem like. He never got to the point where he could explain himself because by the time he starts explaining himself, she's like, I don't want to hear it. It's too late. And she shows very little emotion when she kills him, which you would think you would want to see rage. You would want to see, I
thought it was pure rage.
You want to see the dark side coming out of her. And she's just like, you're dead.
I hardly disagree.
I didn't feel that. I
wholeheartedly disagree. I think she rages out against her sister, and then comes out from that, and then hears that she has been lied to by the one person she has trusted her entire life, and she just stares him down, tells him to shut up, and then strangles him with the Force. That's rage.
Yeah, but as an actress, she's terrible.
I thought she was pretty good.
I thought they were pretty good.
I thought they were pretty good.
Well, I disagree. I think she didn't convey it.
And then, after killing him, picks up the lightsaber with the cracked gem in it, the cracked crystal, and bleeds it out.
Mm-hmm.
What'd you think, Joe? What do you think of that part?
I don't know.
That's
probably from lore somewhere.
Yeah, it is.
It is.
Yeah.
So
it was done really well.
I thought it was
cool.
Pretty awesome. I think people are going to complain about why didn't Anakin's turn in episode 3 when he goes on his thing. I think there's
that's explainable. I think
I agree. Right? I wholeheartedly agree. That's the first thing I thought is just like, is it cool that they show it that way? And then I thought about it more and everything. It's just like, well, they break the crystal in a certain way. They're very unstable crystals. There's only 2 colors a crystal can't naturally be, and that's white and red. So, and there's only one instance I know of. Well, I don't know what the Darksaber is actually, but the whole bleeding of a crystal, because the kyber crystals actually they're in tune with the Force. And so if you remember the Mandalorian, it's very difficult sometimes for him to carry it. It gets heavier and heavier. It's because of that. Okay. It's because of the crystals that are in there. But in this case, Ahsoka's got white lightsabers, if you've noticed, because she's taken hers. When she left the Jedi Order, she purified her crystals. And that's the absolute opposite of bleeding them out. And that's the only way to get the white. But with the red, by focusing all your anger, rage, hatred into the lightsaber, it's something that the Sith do as part of a ceremonial thing. Mm-hmm. So there's a moment after Revenge of the Sith where Darth Vader bleeds out his crystal in his lightsaber. So, and usually it's from a Jedi that you killed. So this makes a lot of sense. She kills the Jedi. They clearly showed a crack happen when it dropped, and then when she picks it up, she rages out. I thought it was pretty awesome. Yeah.
I'm with you. I got no problems with it.
Yeah.
I just wish they would have done it on, I don't know, with a character that I maybe had more of a connection with. So let me ask you, who's the hero of this show? Who's the hero of this television?
There's no hero.
No, there is.
You think there's a hero? Basil?
Mm-hmm.
Basil the hero? Pip? Is Pip the hero?
No, it's clearly Osha. She finds what she wants. She is empowered to do what she wants and to go off and do what she wants.
Why does that make her a hero? I think she falls to the dark side of the Force, ends up murdering somebody. Maybe it was legit, maybe not. She didn't have to kill him.
She's not free
she's
at
not
the end.
Heroic,
she's clearly not
and she's
free.
not. It's like it's the thing where you feel you're free, but you've now.
He has to make a bargain.
It's like, is Darth Vader when he turns? Does he free? He's trapped completely. So she's trapped.
She makes a bargain to save her sister. She's clearly not free if she has to make a bargain. Right?
She can't leave. She's stuck there now. She made a deal with the devil.
It's interesting too that like how she's like, well, I'm gonna go and the stranger's like, okay, well, we'll go together. Like he's taking orders from her. Like there is this moment where like she kind of takes over the reins and she's like, all right, I'm in control of my destiny finally, and I'm gonna do this. Don't you guys think?
I think she's just taking a step on another path is all she's doing.
Well, no, I think there's something kind of interesting there. The idea that, because she's way more powerful than he is, that he would recognize that, because he recognizes that in the beginning. He's freaked out with the helmet thing. Like, oh crap, this is a lot of force power in there. And so he recognizes that. I don't necessarily I think he's still in seduction mode though, where you can do whatever you want, but he knows he's got her, so I think that's something that definitely could be explored for sure. Like, I really, really want this to get another season. I absolutely hope it gets another season, because there's just so much. And just focus on the Sith. Just hang on that dark side, or Ren, or whatever it is. Just focus on there. Have Vanestra in the background trying to Scooby-Doo it and try to figure out where her old Padawan is and who it is. With maybe the help of Yoda at her side. I don't know. I don't know how you do that. I'm curious though. I like that they have this entire thing mapped out. So, I mean, the long-term big idea of it all. And I mean, like you guys can argue about the execution of things and everything. We've seen a lot of bad shows in the first season, and I'm not saying it's bad. I know you guys think lots of it is much worse than I think it is. And while I do recognize there's some bumbling things in there, we've seen a lot of bumbling first season shows that by the second or third season just turn out to be absolutely immaculate. So, it's something that happens where you're like, the first season you just kind of get through it, Parks and Rec, just get through it, right? And then, holy crap, it's amazing after that. But I think this has already laid some better groundwork.
In that particular case, you're finding the voice of your characters, but in this show, you've just killed all your characters. So what is the second season going to do?
But their story's been told. The ones that are dead, their stories are told. I mean, the characters that live on beyond this definitely have a lot of development now under their belt and could definitely go into a second season. Where I think there's a lot of story to tell. So, Chuck, obviously you disagree with me, and that's cool, man. I'm totally fine with it. I wish you would have enjoyed it the way I enjoyed it. I'm going to rank this as my Dan. I was talking to Chuck about this. You had mentioned that we should do a ranking show. We're done with we're done with Acolyte. We finished. We got through it, boys. We made it. What do we think about next week? Ranking all our Star Wars stuff. We rank all 9 Skywalker movies. We rank the 2, Rogue One, Solo. I don't know if you guys have seen enough of Clone Wars or Rebels to consider ranking it. I'll put it in my rankings.
Yeah,
You
I
know,
haven't.
but then we can rank all the shows as well, because I think you guys have seen all the shows, right? At least the live action stuff.
Yes.
I haven't watched Ahsoka all the way through. I have to watch Ahsoka.
Okay. How much more do you got left?
Well,
Ahsoka's my second favorite.
To be honest, I haven't watched any of it, so.
Okay. Oh, you have not watched Ahsoka.
Pretty good.
Okay. Okay.
No.
No, that's really interesting. Because now I wonder if you watch Ahsoka, what your take is going to be on a lot of this stuff. Please watch Ahsoka and just report back. I was planning on rewatching it, so that's the next one. I'm going to watch Ahsoka right now, and then I'm going to wait a little while to watch Andor before season 2 comes out of Andor for my rewatches. I'm like saving Andor. I'm going to savor that bad boy, and you know.
You guys remember, like, I mean, this might come off stupid, I don't know. You ever, like, remember, like, you're playing G.I. Joe or you're playing, like, Star Wars or whatever. You're playing with your action figures or whatever. And, like, your little sister comes in. She's like, I want to play too. And then, like, she just comes up with the dumbest storyline. And, like, it's, like, doesn't make any sense. And you're like, those characters wouldn't even talk like that. You're like, you're just like, what? This sucks. This is terrible. That's what this show is. That's what the show was.
But you didn't have the action figures beforehand to know what the characters talk like.
I'm just saying.
All right.
That's how I feel about this.
So okay, Chuck gives it. What are you going to grade it? I'm guessing this is going to end up on the bottom of your list of all Star Wars things.
Yeah.
Absolute bottom. Yeah. All right.
Absolute bottom.
It will not end up on the bottom of mine.
It won't end up on there because I loathe most of Mandalorian.
And that I don't understand. Like I just did a rewatch of season 3 and it was absolutely fantastic.
Season 3 is much better than the first 2.
Really? See, I thought the first 2 were better than 3.
Yeah, I thought first 2 seasons were way stronger.
Okay, so so let's talk this out right now. Thanks everybody for sticking around while we're still talking about planning an episode. But do we want to rate seasons? So we have 3 seasons of Mandalorian, and we could rate each season within that? No, or you just sort of rate it as a whole? We're just going to do it as a whole? Okay,
yeah,
fair enough.
Just rate it as a whole,
Okay, I'm good with this. All right, I'm trying to think if there's anything else I want to get out of my brain about the Acolyte. I got nothing else. I think I've spent it all here. I have said what I think I feel I need to say about the Acolyte. You guys feel the same way?
I can talk about it a lot more, but I mean, I can, not.
Well, if you got more to say, let's bring it out right now.
I feel like the scene with Plagueis was not necessary. I think it's cool that they introduced him in a live action show, but I just feel that particular, like, we as fans know who that was, but if I was watching this, with zero context, I'm like, who's the creepy guy? Which is probably fine because they've introduced characters that way before.
Yeah, I mean, yeah,
and you got the gist that he was not a good guy.
Yeah, but I don't know. I just felt like I don't know if that was needed. And also, in the same way, I don't think the Yoda scene was. I think that was kind of dumb. Like, So of course she's going to go talk to Yoda and tell him the story she just told the senators, about all this bullshit that she made up. Which also,
you're going to hate Ahsoka.
Why did she? I have a feeling if they went to a whole different galaxy, then I'm going to probably have some issues. Why did Venestra feel she needed to cover all this up? Just to save her ass?
Yeah. Absolutely.
Because she was the one that sent him out there. She is
protecting the Jedi Order in the way she feels because she's got this. Well, it's saving hers, but it's also like if stuff like this starts getting out, then the Senate starts throwing more rules on them, and they lose their power. Right now, they're kind of an independent entity, kind of doing whatever they want. By the time we get to episode 1, they're sort of like the right hand of whatever the Chancellor tells them to do. Like Chancellor Palpatine or Valorum are telling the Jedi, you got to go to this planet and deal with this thing, where they're not doing that in this part of Star Wars, in this timeline. They're an independent entity doing their own thing, which there are a lot of independent entities all throughout Star Wars, which I hope they explore more, because they've done so in the comics and in the books. But I really hope that later on we get more of things that are happening on the planet Jedha, the planet from Rogue One that gets wiped out by the Death Star. That one. Um, there's a lot of cool stuff there. So please give me a season 2. That's all I ask. Star Wars gods, give me a season 2.
I do not know that they will get one. I think
it'll get one.
Yeah,
it's going to get 2. It's going to get 2 more seasons.
Really? I hope you're right, Dan. Yeah. I absolutely hope you're right, because I think, at least for me, there's a lot of stuff that I want to explore or have them explore, and I just, like I said, this is the one that I was excited for because it gives me Star Wars in a different time frame. It's why, and spoilers, Chuck, yeah, so Ahsoka goes to another galaxy. That's also very exciting to me.
I thought that was pretty hilarious that you said that, Chuck.
Well, it just seems like, I mean, it's just so they can expand to, here's the thing, you guys, like, I can see when it's like, oh, there's a new toy and there's like, just another money-making scheme. And it's like, does that benefit the story, or is it just benefiting the pocket of Disney? That's the question I have. And are you making good story choices? Or are you making good merchandise choices? That's where I start to get a little annoyed.
Well, I think this is a great case scenario to say that you should be happy, because typically shows that kill off a lot of characters don't really do well with toys. Andor and Rogue One didn't sell a ton of toys compared to like episodes 7, 8, and 9, or The Mandalorian and Grogu. And I don't think you're going to get a lot of sales out of these either. You'll probably get a lot of Stranger sales and stuff with that, because that's the iconic character. Yeah, but you're not going to get a lot of Saul things. I mean, they don't really have like a Grogu to hang their hat on with this one.
No.
So
what kid wants to be Saul? I mean, he sucks. He's terrible.
I think I love him.
He's just the worst person.
All he would have
had to do was say, yeah, your mom turned into a smoke monster, was vaporizing your sister. I killed her. I saved your sister's life. Done. Solved. He could never freaking get words out.
That would have been a lie also, though.
Oh, it was exactly what happened.
But he understood after he killed her, when she said, yeah, I was going to let you have Osha, he would have still been lying. He would have still lied either way. So he's either doing this lie, or if he says, yeah, I killed her. But if he says, yeah, I killed her and I shouldn't have because she was telling me how she was going to let you go anyway, and I'm a big, I screwed it up. I've
never seen a person turn into a smoke monster before, and I panicked. I don't know. I feel like his kill was justified, 100%. And I think that
I think at the moment, I understand that moment. I agree.
And her little, I was going to let Osha go. I wouldn't have believed her as his character. I would not have believed her, because she was just turning into a smoke monster. So I don't know. And then he wouldn't even fight the other mom, and she was kicking his ass, and he wouldn't even fight her. He's like, I'm not going to fight you because I just killed this other woman, and I feel so guilty about it. Don't necessarily know that he would have felt guilty. Maybe he would have. I don't know. I'm not him, but I'm just
I don't. I think you're both right.
There's things about the show.
Yeah, like what you're saying is making a lot of sense, Chuck. I mean, it's like I can't disagree with what you're saying. I feel
they're just not. There's just like a little bit of like. I think that Osha was not a dumb person. She would have understood. He had plenty of time. She lived with him for like 7 years. You don't think he would have ever told her? And then she admits that she failed out of the Jedi Academy, that they didn't like kick her. She failed out. She told her sister she failed out because she couldn't let go of the anger and the hate.
Well, that's not exactly what was told in the story, though. Because what's her name wanted her out.
Trinity wanted her out.
Trinity pushed her out.
Yeah, and
really?
I think with the things that she says that earlier on.
Yeah, that's not what Osha tells May, though.
But I think Osha may have done things to put herself into that position because she didn't want to be part of the Jedi. Once she realized, again, She doesn't want to be part of a community. She wants to be an independent.
I get it, but I think the Jedi are stupid. You can't just let people go. You can't let people who are that angry and that pissed off just go, because what the chance that they get seduced to the dark side would be a greater risk.
I mean, I think
everybody is agree. I think everybody would agree with you.
I mean, this is you're doing the Civil War in Marvel thing right now, where you've got if you've got all these superheroes with unchecked powers, don't you want to kind of put something on them? Like in real life, I actually agree with the Iron Man side, where I'm like, yeah, you guys got all this power that can like wipe out a whole building or a continent. I kind of want to know where you are and what you're doing, and want a little bit of me being a feeble little human. I'd kind of like to know what's going on. But in the midst of the story, where you've got Captain America's never going to do anything wrong, so of course we're going to side with Captain America, because we know he's for truth, justice in the Superman way. I mean, he's a character like that. But I think what I also like about this story is it's muddy. It's a muddy story. It doesn't have the good evil line that just like, step on this side you're good, step on this side you're bad. I like the moral ambiguity of it. I like that it challenges what is good and what is the right way to go about something like that. When you have that situation and they make the argument, if we go and tell everybody what happened, we lose this girl. When they're on the ship and Osha's laying there as a child. And it makes sense at that moment. So they make that decision. I like that, because what happens if you tell the story a different way? It's like you make that decision and then you have to deal with the repercussions of it. And it's just like the lie that builds on the lie that builds on the lie, and you continually cover it, which is it's a classic trope of storytelling. So I think the skeleton of the show is fantastic. I think there's some things that bumbled along the way, but overall it's well structured, and I want to see it continued on further, because I think there's a lot of talent in there. I would like I would like maybe one singular director on the next season. I don't like the jumping around. I know they could do that because they could do you get three things. You have three different directors doing 6 episodes. You can do 6 episodes almost at the exact same time. I get it. I know why they do it. So it's like, how much do you sacrifice to make this product? I mean, it's complicated. So, I just wish you liked it better. I'm really curious to see what you think of Ahsoka.
What is your take on the fanboys that do not like this show? Like, what is your take on that?
I mean, obviously, you don't like the show. I mean, and you have your reasons why you don't like it, right? I mean, I don't think of you any differently for your opinion of a Star Wars show. So I think that when it comes to review bombing, I think when it comes to saying that they're trying to push an agenda, I don't feel that there's any agenda being pushed in this series at all. I mean, what is being pushed of like, what's woke about it? Just because you have a Korean actor and a black actor, I mean, it's just like, that's stupid. That if it like, get out of my face. I'm sure people in South Korea are freaking ecstatic that they got a main character in a Star Wars show. Great, good for them.
I still think that's just noise. That's
what I was getting to.
Tiny minority being driven by people who actually do have an agenda, which is to block inclusion and anything that doesn't look like them. And I think there's probably like 5 guys in a basement in Russia somewhere, right, pushing that agenda and getting some coat hanger-ons. Out there to kind of echo that. And I don't think there is, if there's 2 million people out there reviewing it, great, or saying, hey, I give it my thumbs up. I don't think there's 2 million people giving it the thumbs down. I think it's like 20 guys who are rallying behind these, subverters that know how to script thumbs down at that scale.
That's a big part, but I think there's also a group of quote Star Wars fans, such as like Star Wars Theory and other used to be famous ones, that have found if I go into the negative and attack Kathleen Kennedy all day long, I get a lot more clicks. That's a proven trick, like, so that's, and like, in those sites they get 1 million views,
Sure. It's the
so,
collaborators that they're, the people taking advantage of, in this situation.
Co-riders, they're coattail riders in this situation. Sure. I agree. I mean, I don't like that part of it though, because I think it muddies up the community. I try to find the more positive Star Wars communities. I mean, there is a subreddit called Saltier Than Crate. So Crate is the salt planet in The Last Jedi, and it is just Star Wars bashing. The entire thing is just pure Star Wars bashing. They'll find the most minute thing, and just this is why everything is ruined. I did find another subreddit called the Star Wars Cantina, which is the friendly one. You go there and it's just like, dude, I love the way the robes look in this. It's really cool how they changed it up, and I like how they do the styles, and I like the set design, and the ships are kind of cool. And that's where I tend to like push myself towards. So I've gotten to an age where I've said in the past, it's like I'd rather be in the positive. There's no reason for me to get negative about any of this stuff. They could absolutely, like, Andor could come out and become the worst show ever, and I'll be like, it's kind of a bummer, that's kind of a bummer. I think I the only thing that I really ever disliked was the episode 9, and and on top of that though, I kind of like the whole thing where they're doing everything they can to fix that. Everything they're doing right now is how to fix episode 9. That's what the Mandalorian's point is. That's what the Bad Batch's point was, and I bet you some of this Acolyte stuff will kind of go in that direction too.
I don't think they care if they fix the movie. I think
they're fixing the lore. Fix the lore.
And I don't think they even care if they fix the lore, because I think not. I don't think it really matters all that much to the bottom line for the story of Star Wars, or for continuing to have a franchise that generates enough money to keep the franchise moving forward. I don't think that matters at all. All they're trying to do is establish the stories for the current stories that they're telling, and the ones that are on the bubble.
I think maybe the higher up suits for sure, but I mean Dave Filoni, who's like kind of right. I mean the entire story of the Bad Batch is how they're trying to get midichlorians to be able to clone somebody that can be force sensitive, which is what they're trying to do in The Mandalorian also. So those are all the things that they're leading up to Snoke, that lead up to the bring back of Palpatine. So how do you the worst reveal ever? Somehow Palpatine came back. They're trying to fix that part of it, and it's filling in. They're filling in.
I think that's what they're doing. They're filling it. There's not a whiteboard in Dave Filoni's office that at the top says "Fix Episode 9." It's not.
I think that's what it is, because I think when he did the Clone Wars, it was fix Anakin Skywalker. How do you fix Anakin Skywalker? Because if you watch episode 1, 2, and 3, see his turn, we were all like, oh, that's how he turned? And then, but then if you watch the Clone Wars and you take all the bits of Anakin, his character arc is incredibly good.
But you don't go back. You can retcon something. Right. But I think at the end of the day, nobody's wasting time or effort to, quote unquote, fix something. They're going to tell a new story, or retell the old story, or fill in parts of the story.
Can I say enhance instead then? I'll say enhance. They're going to enhance Anakin Skywalker's story to make it more believable when he turns.
I don't think that anybody is trying to do that. I think they're trying, hey, let's tell the story. Oh, we can tell this one. Maybe there's a secondary bonus of that, but that's not the intention. Is not to fix Anakin or do that.
It's along for the ride. When they do the Clone Wars, they're like, hey, we're going to do all this. We're going to get all these backstories of all these Jedi, and we're going to really show the relationship between Obi-Wan Kenobi, why they were almost brothers, and how he falls. That's absolutely what they did in that show.
And I'm good with that intention, and I think that's a great story to tell. Right?
Yeah.
And
I'm just saying that's the stuff I love, though. So I like the fact that Mandalorian is trying to make make me watch all of Star Wars and then get to episode 9 where something Palpatine returns, which was announced in Fortnite. Make it viable to the story where it's like, okay, well, we didn't explore it in episode 7 and 8, but it makes sense with all this other stuff going on that he is here. So tell those stories. Give me more Exegol. Give me that Sith planet with the lightning. I don't even know how they eat on that planet, but I want to know what's going on with that fleet, how that fleet got there. My guess is it'll be something that's remnants from the Ahsoka and Mandalorian stuff that happens, but whatever. We'll see. Cool. But I think a lot more to tell. So let's do some rankings next week.
Yep, and please make sure you re-up your HBO Max subscription.
All right.
Dude, they're killing it.
Yeah, I've been hearing good things.
Amazing.
All right, Chuck, you gonna get HBO and you're gonna watch all the Game of Thrones and then watch House of Dragon? You're gonna just pound through that? So. It's tough to pound through, let me tell you.
I don't think it's something you just pound through, man.
We gotta watch season 2 of Game of Thrones with Chuck for the Red Wedding.
2 and 3 and 4. I mean, one ends insane. The season 1 ends insane. The first 4 seasons of Game of Thrones are incredible. Like, I think some of the best television ever.
I think we're gonna have to do a Game of Thrones episode now. I think the last 4 seasons are also really good. The last 3 are, it's just obvious that they're not strong, right? They're still good, and the story's still good, and I'd say it's still way above, like an Acolyte in how good they are.
That last season is,
it is a letdown because it's kind of, it's nowhere near as strong as the first. I think he wrote 5 with them too, right? I think it's 6.
A certain major character is left for dead at the end of a season. That's the last bit in the books.
Yeah. Okay,
not ruin it for Chuck. I mean, I could. He's gonna forget what I say right now, but
he wrote all the material for House of Dragons, and it is fucking awesome.
Well, that's why I'm curious. But like I said, I stopped reading the books when I realized this dude ain't gonna write another book in this series. So unless he finishes it, I will not read those books. I read the first 2. I read the first 2 and then I stopped.
Oh, they're so good.
They're good. He's a great writer too.
You got to read Night of the Hedge, which is the next series they're making.
You know what I got my dad to read this week? He's on a cruise ship as usual, but he just read Old Man's War.
Oh yeah, that's great.
And he's reading Red Rising now.
Oh, so I'm on the Lightbringer.
Oh, you're finishing it up.
Hours in. I'm finishing it up.
I heard it sticks the landing. I am going back. I'm going to start the entire series from the beginning and then go through all 6 books.
So I just did recaps.
No, I want to get the whole thing again because my dad's reading it too, so then I can talk to him as we're reading the books.
It is a lot of book to read.
It's good though. It's so good. I'll listen.
Yeah.
I have them. I could do either one, but here's the thing, and we're going a little long. Actually, we're not even that long. We're only an hour and a half in. This is about where we stopped. So, my wife, we like to exchange books like throughout our entire marriage and before. I'll give her a book. Like I gave her the Red Rising series. She ate that up. Then she's given me like the Time Traveler's Wife. I read that. And everything. And then she gave me a book that I just really couldn't get into, and it just kind of sat on my nightstand for like a really, really, really long time. And then she realized I wasn't going to read it, but then gave me another one, and it's a really funny book, and I've read it and I like it, but I just haven't been able to sit and read anything like with pages.
Right.
It's like I can, like I am just a person who, when I listen to something, I comprehend way better than when I read something. I can read, and I'm not saying I'm like illiterate, but it's just like I comprehend better when I hear something more than if I read it.
Sure.
And so I really, really enjoy the audiobooks. It's like over the last like 15, 20 years when I started getting into Audible, I've got over like 100 books that I've listened to. I don't know, maybe more. I don't even know. But I'm like afraid, like I have to read that funny book that she gave me before I can read any other book. Otherwise, she will have my head.
What's the book?
I forgot. I don't know. It's on my nightstand though, and I'm like,
just burn through it, man.
I know, and it's an easy read, and it's a good read, and it's just like, and I feel really bad though, and it's just like my own motivation of not being able to read because it's a lot easier for me to pop on Marvel Snap before I fall asleep than it is for me to like read a book. If I read a book, I'll actually fall asleep quicker, But
did you do the Bobiverse?
Yes, I did the Bobiverse.
Did you see
it's fun.
A new one.
Oh,
coming?
is there? Is it a new starting a new story?
Or it's like book 5, I think.
Okay, they're just doing an additional. They're adding on. Okay, I think I did the first 4.
Which I don't know. I think
3 or
Chuck
4
would dig them.
Oh yeah,
I think Chuck would
dig the Bobiverse. Oh, you love Bobiverse. That is like right up your alley, Chuck.
Yeah.
Bobiverse all the way. I think you'd really like Project Hail Mary too. I think, there's been a lot that
I haven't met anybody who hasn't liked that one yet.
It's like one of the instant classics of sci-fi for sure.
Yeah,
I'll have to listen to it.
Yeah. Do you listen to audio books or?
Not really. I don't really listen to audiobooks, but it would totally fit.
Like if I'm like, I'll do like the podcasts for like a year, and then I go into books and I listen to like books, and then I start getting back into podcasts. I go back and forth. Because we're doing so many of these podcasts, once a week. It's like I'll probably start doing the book thing just because, all right, enough of podcasts. All right.
All right.
Should we kick the music on?
Yeah.
All right, start the music. And thank you for listening to episode 16 of the Burning Ewok podcast. Join our Discord. Join our Patreon. Find us on Spotify, YouTube if you want to look at our dumb faces. Check out my son's music, Neurocase, on Spotify. He's the one who does the intro and outro. What else we got going on? Anything else we want to pimp right now? No, we don't. Okay, so everybody say goodbye.
See you guys later.
Happy trails.
Bye-bye.